Hey folks, Michael from Misfit Shepherds here. Today it's the beginning of the month. It's the 4th of December, but it's close enough. And it's time to do their heartworm medication. All right. Now, regular heartworm medication is about $80 a pill when you get it from the vet. We can't afford that. We have 9 dogs. Sometimes we have up to 12 dogs. We can't do that. So what we do is we buy the tubes of ivermectin from Tractor Supply. Now, these are actually, they're pretty cool. They come in a syringe type of applicator. This is the open one we have. And this entire shot, or this entire syringe, is filled with a paste that is good for an animal or a horse up to 1,200 pounds. So if you were to take this tube and divide it by the animals that you have, you would come up with a measurement, very lightweight measurement. In fact, we're using a bullet scale that is capable breaking it a pound down to very, very, very small increments. It's called grainage. There are 6,000 grains in a pound, and we're able to break this down to 1/10 of a grain at a time. And each animal, depending on their weight, is getting about 5 grains, 5.5 grains for this scale is capable of doing that. So this tube is actually $20, and this is the 3rd month we've been able to give our dogs dosages for heartworm medication. So what I do is I take a little piece, wax paper, parchment paper, something to that effect, and I balance out the scale and zero it out with the wax paper, because you don't want the wax paper or the parchment paper to be part of the weight of the medication. So with that wax paper, everything is saying 0. So the whole idea of this is to put a little bit of paste, and it almost looks like toothpaste. It's a little thinner than toothpaste, but put the correct amount of toothpaste or ivermectin on a treat. And we're using beef lung as a treat. And then we put it on our dish, march with each dog, so we don't mess up the weights. We want to make sure that each dog gets exactly the dose that they need for heartworm. And then we're able to give it to them. We're able to break it down. And again, this tube is good for a 1,200-pound animal. If you have a 70-pound animal and you take the 0.21 ounces that is in this tube and break it down to their weight, it's not that bad. But you got to be pretty precise on this. You can't mess around. Ranger, you're making an awful lot of noise with that, so I'm going to take that away from you for now. And it's a good way to protect. Each dosage turns out to be a couple dollars per. I mean, this tube is $21, $20 at the store. They have one that's cheaper in a syringe form that you can also give orally. That's a little bit cheaper, and they also have this in the bitter apple form, which I don't recommend. I don't think dogs are going to like bitter apple. You're going to be fighting with your animal to get it down. They don't seem to bother me at all when I'm giving this in dosage. So for those people who have access to a bullet scale or a reloading scale, again, it's 6,000 pounds, or excuse me, 6,000 grains to a pound. You're able to really break it down quite a bit. But if you're going to use the grainage system, it's 0.07 grains per pound of dog. And if you do the math, a 70-pound dog will get 4.9 grains. Ranger, we'll just line them up until we're done here. We'll get a 70-pound animal will get 4.9 grains of the medication. You don't want to go over, you don't want to go under. You pretty much want to be precise. And for those folks who don't know how to exactly weigh their dog, if you were to step on a scale, get your own body weight, and then pick up a dog and step on the scale again, you can do the subtraction and figure out exactly how much the dog weighs. We go to the pound. We don't round off. We go right to the pound and right to the grain for every piece of medication we do. And that's how we do it here. I'm going to start breaking it down, and when we're done breaking it down, I'll show you how we feed it to them. Next medication I need is Ranger, where I need 5 grains. So we'll hook up 5 grains. And I like using sharp instruments because you can scrape very nicely. Put a little bit on here. And remove until you get, and add until you get to 5 grains. Okay. This takes a little bit of practice. This is not easy. This is not something you can jump right into. First time you do this, you're going to want to take it slowly. Then you want to scrape as much of the medication off as you possibly can with that sharp instrument and get it on the treat. Now, if you got 1 or 2 dogs, you don't have to go as nuts as we are here. But with all the dogs that we have to make sure that everybody gets the exact dosage that they need. Ivory's a bigger girl, so she needs 5.2 grains. We're going to go 1, 2. Now, if you have the money, by all means, buy the pill, because it's already pre-measured for you. And actually, when you buy the pills, the medications are between 60 and 80 pounds. That's what they put on the box, between 60 and 80 pounds, between 40 and 60 pounds. So the dosage, we are doing more of an exact dosage than the pills do. Okay, we're back down to Ivory we just did. Bandit is 4 grains. We're on 5, so let's just get rid of Sierra's real quick. Read this. There we go. That's 5 grains right there. Now remember, 6,000 grains in 1 pound. So these measurements are of the most minute. In fact,
is that Sierra's or Bandit? That's Sierra's.
This is Sierra's, correct. Thank you. In fact, this piece of wax paper right here weighs just under 1 grain, all by itself. So 6,000 of these will equal 1 pound. That's how minute this is. Last one is 4 grains. This is going to be Bandits. It's pretty good. And of course my lovely photographer gets all my treats and everything ready for me right on the nose. I want to get all of the medication off and onto the treat. That's Bandits, and that's how we do it. Now, housekeeping. This is medication. Ivermectin is a drug. It's a drug for dogs, And it's a drug for a lot of different farm animals, including horses and such. It's medication. You see me, I'm not doing this with gloves. I highly recommend that you use gloves because it will get absorbed through the skin. I've been doing this a while, so I'm fairly confident that I'm keeping the medication off of me. But you don't want to mess around with this stuff. Housekeeping is very, very important anytime you are dispensing medication. You are going to want to get everything cleaned up off the counters. You don't want to be having this on your sandwich later on when you're making a sandwich. You really want to make sure everything is cleaned up. So what I try to do before giving them any medication, I'll take a handful of the treats, because they're all going to look at the treats with something on it, and they're going to be all, you know, they're going to be looking at it and chewing it carefully and everything. So you want to get them ready for it so they'll just swallow it. Ivory, sit. Good girl. Sierra. Ranger. Luca, Bear Bear, Bandit, Juno Girl, Tank, and Capone. While you're giving, again, you're dispensing medication. You want to be careful with that. You want to make sure the right dog gets the right medication. So, Tank, I do them in order. Sit. Good. Juno. Luca. All right, we're up to Capone. Capone, good girl. Bear Bear. Oh boy, Ranger. Good girl, Ivory. Ivory takes her medicine well too. Good girl. Good. Sierra's our toughest with medication. There you go. If you make them think you're trying to get it away from them, like anything else that they have, they'll swallow it a whole lot quicker. Oh, and by the way, they need their heartworm medication, especially in warmer climates. You absolutely have to get their dogs their heartworm medication. You have no idea what heartworm does to these animals. It'll rip them apart from inside out. Very, very nasty. So, good job, guys. Michael from Misfit Shepherds, and this is how we give our medication to our dogs every month. Good job, guys.